Coming up on Valley News Live at 10, bars in Grand Forks will be shutting earlier. Is a similar plan in the works for Fargo? More area schools switching to distance learning as COVID cases continue to rise. Plus, as the vote counting continues, could a recount flip a key battleground state? Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
Will the city of Grand Forks set the tone for other cities in North Dakota when it comes to trying to slow the spread of COVID-19? Mayor Brandon Boshinsky announcing late this afternoon a temporary emergency order calling for businesses with a liquor license to close at 11 p.m. starting Saturday night. The move will last at least a month. Valley News Team's Devin Fry has more on the story.
Crowded bars and restaurants continue to be a concern for many during this COVID-19 pandemic. This despite guidelines in North Dakota called for by Governor Doug Burgum to limit capacity to no more than 25%. Grand Forks Mayor Brandon Boshinsky taking action with a temporary emergency order modifying the hours of all businesses that hold a liquor license. The mayor calling it another step to limit opportunities for the congregation of many different social groups in high exposure environments. The move for Grand Forks and likely East Grand Forks comes as mayors and county leaders across the state had discussed the growing spread of COVID-19 and what to do about it at the local level.
Whether it's permits for large gatherings, whether it's liquor licenses, whether it's approvals, a coordination with the local public health, all of these things can happen locally. The mayors can either just even by driving around or being connected with they and their other commissioners know where opportunities are for additional mitigation.
We reached out to members of the Fargo City Commission to see if something similar to what's happening in Grand Forks has been considered. According to Commissioner Tony Gehrig, it has not been discussed. He also told us that he will not be supporting any additional government mandates or penalties. We didn't hear back from other members of the commission. Mayor Tim Mahoney has said that bars could be facing fines for violating capacity rules. He also told us that he's reached out to local businesses that have violated capacity guidelines to discuss better compliance in the future. Reporting from Fargo, Devin Fry, Valley News Live.
And as of today, all counties in the state of North Dakota are either at moderate or the high risk level. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum calling today the worst the state has had, referring to 29 deaths reported, increasing the death toll in the state to 596. The full numbers can be found on our VNL News app and at the bottom of your screen. Schools in the valley are also adjusting to rising numbers. Barnesville Public Schools will be sending students home for distance learning. The superintendent is saying that the last few days they have had to quarantine all of their custodial workers and have been operating with a depleted food service staff. Erica Berg and her 3 kids were at the school today picking up supplies. They tell us everyone's taking it day by day.
They're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. They're trying to do what's best for the students and the teachers and the staff.
The superintendent says activities can go on because the real challenge is among the district staff, not the students. Students will be distance learning until November 13th. New York Mills Elementary School is also moving to distance learning for 2 weeks, saying it's because of staff quarantining due to exposure to COVID-19. That's going to start November 16th. They say transition itself from in-person to distance learning will take them several days. Distance learning will last for at least 2 weeks. Your phone may soon be telling you if you have COVID-19. Researchers say all you have to do is download an app and cough into your phone. They're sorting through tens of thousands of samples, saying COVID coughs have distinct sound patterns. And while our ears can't sort out what they mean, artificial intelligence can. Many remain skeptical.
My first thoughts were that, how it's going to work and stuff like that, but I think it'd be a good idea if they could actually figure it out and get it out to the public.
The app is pending FDA approval. The developers say it's 99% accurate with symptomatic patients, 100% for those who are asymptomatic. A senior administration official tells CBS News that the president may not concede the election if Joe Biden declares victory. The race for the White House still hinges on a handful of states where the ballot counting continues. Natalie Brand is in Washington with the very latest.
In his first address since election night, the president took no questions. but again made false claims about mail-in ballots, and he alleged voter fraud without giving evidence.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us.
The president referenced battleground states where his lead has narrowed, including Georgia and Pennsylvania.
It's very close in Pennsylvania, right? There's no question. And so that means it's going to take longer to actually see who the winner is. We have very strong processes in place that make sure that voting integrity and security are constantly followed by every county in the state.
Election officials from coast to coast are defending the integrity of the vote counting process, even as the Trump campaign presses forward with legal challenges.
We are not aware of any improper ballots that are being processed.
As the vote counting continues, the focus remains on several key states that remain razor thin. Democratic challenger Joe Biden called a news conference earlier to call for every vote to be counted, but expressed continued confidence in the eventual outcome.
We have no doubt that when the count is finished, Senator Harris and I will be declared the winners.
A Biden campaign official called the president's comments Thursday night desperate and baseless. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Meanwhile, a Georgia court dismissed a Trump campaign lawsuit over absentee ballots, and in Michigan, a judge denied the campaign's request to halt ballot counting. North Dakota processed record-breaking requests for driver's licenses and IDs ahead of the election. Workers say they usually see an increase during the fall of an election year, but last month they processed nearly 25,000 licenses or IDs. That's 4,000 more than last October. North Dakota DOT attributes the record numbers to changes they made in office hours early in the pandemic. Driver's license renewals are still by appointment only. You can make an appointment online. Regardless of who the next president is, they will have to deal with America's massive unemployment problem. Another 751,000 Americans claimed first-time jobless benefits last week on a seasonal adjusted basis. The number is down slightly from the prior week. Meanwhile, continued jobless claims, which count workers who have applied for benefits for at least 2 weeks in a row, came in at a $7.3 million clip, which is an improvement. Pope Francis has taken away the right of the Vatican's Secretary of State to control its funds and investments. The power to control the Vatican's funds now lies in the hands of its economic offices. The Pope said it isn't necessary or appropriate that the Secretary of State managed funds or assets when another Vatican office already has that responsibility. The move comes as the Vatican continues to investigate a luxury London property deal which was made by the Secretary of State in 2018. Valley News Live is teaming up again with the Great Plains Food Bank for another virtual food drive. It's going to help families in need around the Fargo-Moorhead area. Our goal this year is to reach $40,000, and to find out more, including how you can help, download our free VNL News app, look for the virtual food drive, and click to donate. Still ahead tonight, misusing millions. Our investigative team looks at nursing homes using grants for what some say are frivolous expenses. But first, we're a day closer to the weekend, but also a day closer to losing our great weather. Hutch joins us with the forecast right after this break.